I am about to free you of this assumption that we all make as business owners when we get started. So if you're an expert, coach, teacher, you have an education business of any kind, specifically if you teach online or in person, doesn't matter. This is going to be really helpful to you. My name is Chris. I've grown my own coaching businesses online to 7 figures, selling to some of the hardest markets like broke musicians. So if I can be successful in my industry, you can definitely be successful in yours, and I want to help you get there. So when we're starting out in business, there's always this assumption. By default, we're just like, we're new, we don't have any experience yet. What we should do is start by charging a super low price, and we'll slowly start raising our prices, creating new products, and start charging more when we get more experience. Later down the line, we have to overcome all these hurdles, do all these things before we can raise our price. I promise you, there's no governing law that says you have to do this. The only time you're limited by the market is usually when you have a commodity. So a commodity is something that everybody needs, but there's no emotional attachment to it. If you sold something like a box of nails, you sold staples, you sold pencils, those are commodities, meaning that they could go from one brand or they could go to another brand, and it doesn't really matter. They're going to get the same outcome essentially. But if you have some kind of service that you can transform people's lives, something that's high value, there's no law that says you can only charge this much. There's no one that you're competing with. You essentially make your own prices. But by default, since we're new and we don't know any better, we just think, well, maybe we should charge low prices to begin with. We'll start low, we'll have a bunch of people buy, and then we'll raise our prices a little bit or create another product that we can sell a little bit more. And then once we get really good and we get all these testimonials, we get all these people raging and raving about us, then we can charge the price that we actually want to charge. This is actually a pitfall and the end existence for a lot of businesses. When you charge a low price, let's just say you have a goal, 10K per month, 10K. Let's just say that's our goal. If you charge $10 for a product, how many units do you have to sell to get to 10K? If you charge 1,000, how many units do you need to get to 10K? A lot less than if you were to charge less. But if you were to charge high, if you charged 5K, if you charged 10K, how many units do you need to get to 10K then? When you start out with a low price, it's difficult to hit a goal like this or become profitable because you have to sell so many units. And if you are starting out in business, generally you don't have very much capital to be throwing away on ads. Not that ads are a waste of money, but you first have to have the learning curve of learning how to run ads, learning how to run ads profitably. There's all these skills that you have to develop and burn money along the way, or you have to build this massive audience. You have to build a following. Essentially what you need to be able to sell a product is to be able to garner attention from people who are willing to buy. If in the beginning we don't have a lot of money, we don't have a lot of attention, we don't have a following, no one really knows us, how do we expect to sell enough units of a cheap price to be able to hit our income goal? I don't think anybody thinks about this part, but it's really, really vital, because if you sell a $10 product, like a $10 ebook, and you want to get to 10K a month, and you just keep trying, you keep having all these conversations, you keep nurturing these leads just to get them to spend $10, and when you make a sale, you're like, well, I just made $10. It doesn't really move the needle in your business. It doesn't really help you profit. And if you're running ads, that's a whole nother game, because now you're spending money. And if you sell a cheap product, you may not even recoup the money that you spent on ads. This is why it's hard to be profitable. This is why a lot of businesses tend to give up, is because they start with a low tier price, and then they assume once they get better, they raise their price, they raise their price. The problem too is when you sell a low price product or a service, you have a lot of fulfillment you have to do. You have a lot of customers, you have a lot of clients. How do you fulfill for a mass amount of customers when you're new and don't know what you're doing, and you don't charge enough for it to be worth it? Because then now you have to spend your attention and energy finding other $10 customers instead of getting 10 mid-tier customers or 2 high-ticket customers and focusing all your attention on them and making sure that they get the results that they paid you for. If you spent more time with them, they'll give you a better testimonial. You'll change their life because you're focusing more energy on them, pouring more into them, which means that they're gonna get a better result. This isn't just theory, by the way. So this is the assumption, right? Assumption is start low, go mid, go high. That's what a lot of new business owners think they're supposed to do. Myself included, I am no special unicorn. I thought the same thing. But a lot of businesses, I had learned, a lot of big successful businesses flip this on its head and they do the reverse by going high in the beginning. Then they create a mid-tier product. Then they create a low-tier product that helps more people. But they start with the high because they need less people to say yes, because every yes they get is more valuable, which moves towards the income goal faster, which means you have more capital, which means you can take that capital, you can run ads, and then you can sell these lower ticket products. So as an example, this is one company that did this in the beginning. They went with a high tier, went mid, then low for the general public. I don't know if you remember when Tesla first came out, Elon Musk came out on stage and he did not even have a car yet. He had the idea of a car. He said, this car is going to be called the Roadster. This is what it can do. These are the features. These are the benefits. This is how it's going to change your life. If you want this car, once it goes into production, put a down payment down now. We will send you the car in a couple years after we've produced it and it's ready. What he did was just beta tested this car to see if people actually wanted to buy it before he even put it into production. So he didn't waste time and resources building out this car just to have nobody want to buy it. He sold the idea first. That's the first thing. Second thing is he charged a lot of money for this car. I think it was about $250K. Not a whole lot of people can afford that type of car. There's only a small percentage of people that can. But that small market is more willing to pay for this type of thing. And he knew that every yes that he got moved the needle faster. It made him more money to focus on the other products. He knew a small market would buy this, but that market has a different buying mentality. This market buys things they like. There's no like, oh, but I only have this much money. Oh, but I can only spend this much. I don't make enough to apply for this loan. The top people, they just buy things they want. There's not as much of a money ceiling. They just buy things that they want. Of course, there's less people that are willing to do that, but their buying behavior is a lot different. So he knew that he could tap into this smaller market, and the money that he took from this and making that, then he poured it into the mid-tier, which is the Model X. Well, I think it's Model S, Model X, and Model S, whatever it is, the mid-tier market, the butterfly doors, right? He then sold a bunch of these units, and then what did he do? Then he made a low tier, the Model 3 and the Model Y, which is what the car you see on the road here constantly every day. He did not start here to go here to go here. He reversed it, did this, and then this. Why did he do that? He needed to sell less units, get less yeses, to make the same amount of money or more money so that he could take money, fund this project, pay for advertisement, pay for the production, all that stuff, and then he moved down to the low tier. This is what bigger businesses do. This is what you should do when you're a coaching business. If you sell a service, you help people, you're a consultant, you're a coach, you're an expert, you teach anybody anything online, this is how you should look at it. You should be selling a higher ticket product for your service first. So if you wanted to hit 10K and you had a 5K offer, you would only need 2 units to hit that goal. This is the goal for a lot of entrepreneurs at first, is the 10K month. And if you had a 5K product, that means that if you spoke to 100 people, and 98 of them were like, you suck, I don't want anything to do with you, spat in your face, you still just made 10 grand a month because 2 people said yes to you. Do you know how many no's that is? You can afford 98% no's and a 2% yes, and you still hit this goal. Based on you as one person starting a new business, do you think you would have more bandwidth to help 2 people really accomplish their goals so that they can spread the word about your businesses to their friends, and then they tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends? You make that money, you help them on a greater level, then you can take this money as you start making more. Let's just say, let's add another 0 there. Then you can start creating your mid-tier product where you sell a course for $1,000. Then you can sell an ebook for $7. But if you start here, how are you ever going to be profitable if you don't have enough attention and you don't have enough capital to spend on ads to garner more attention? So don't start here, don't start low. I wouldn't even start mid, I would start high, because you're one person in the beginning and you can focus on delivering for a few clients at a higher ticket price. And you might be asking, well, who's going to pay me that much for 5K? Here's the thing. People don't necessarily want to buy your time. Sorry to say, they don't want to buy your time. They don't really care who you are. All they care about is, can you get them a life-changing result that they want for themselves, because they're willing to pay for that. That's all they're paying for. If you focus all your attention and your marketing on the outcome of what your client wants, and you can prove that you're the guy or girl to get them that outcome, they will pay you every single time. I've had people find out about me 24 hours prior, go through my content, pay me the next day, and they just found out about me. That goes to show you that it doesn't matter who it is, as long as they can trust you and you can prove that you're the one that can help them. They just want the life-changing result for themselves, and that's what they're paying for. The people who focus on, well, there's 15 modules and there's 500 hours of videos, and if that's what you're pitching, you're doing it wrong. Nobody wants that. That just sounds like hard work. I don't want to sit through 500 hours of videos. I'd rather be able to snap my fingers and get the result that I want. So the faster, the better. The quicker to the result, the better, right? So you can charge more, focus more energy on getting them that result fast. They'll be happy to pay you. They'll be happy to spread the word about your business. And then you can start building your business downward in reverse, instead of trying to start low, mid, then high like everybody else. If you reverse this order, you are going to eat up your competition and your business is going to grow much faster. If you want to learn how to build a high ticket offer, I'm going to leave a link down below. There's a free training. It shows you exactly how to build out a high ticket offer, how to market to find the people that actually want to buy it, and how to sell to them without feeling salesy. Click that link, register, and watch that training, and it's going to show you exactly how to do that. I hope this was helpful. Hit subscribe and share this with a friend that needs to see this.